Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are continuing what we discussed in our last video about how it's possible to get received line into a purchase invoice them. And we left with a question. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you watch that one first so then you can come back here and continue our conversation. So, what happens to purchase orders that have already been fully received and invoiced because we have used a separate document to invoice them after they've been received? So let's jump into BC and see what we can do with that. Here we are. This is the home page. If we go into the purchase orders, if you remember, these last two purchase orders have fully been received, not only, but they've also been invoiced because we created a separate invoice document to invoice them both. So we are in a situation where those orders are no longer needed. Now, there's different ways to approach this. Like the easiest and more simple is simply to go here in the more options under actions, functions, and you'll find delete invoice orders. Now, this is one way. It's obviously a manual process. You have to go in here, click, and that will take care of it for you. Before we do that, I want to show you that there is an option to manually schedule a task. And it is possible to do that going up here, the job queue entries, look for that page. And then here, it is possible to create a new entry in the job queue. The job queue is very simply a scheduler for a task. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, let us know down below. We would like to do some more videos further ahead, like so we can dive deep into how to use this functionality. But for the time being, I'm just going to show you really quickly how manually you could potentially use this if you are already familiar with this type of setup. So you would go here, you would select report, you would search, and the name of the task is delete invoiced purchase orders. Now you can select this. Obviously, there's a few other parameters that need to be configured. Again, like we're not going to cover that in this videos, but if you're interested, we're going to make a future video specifically on how to use job queues entries in general. So for the time being, we'll just assume that you know that and that you've selected the proper report, and then you're just going to set that to ready. And that will take care of that for you with the scheduling that you decide. This is one way of doing it. Another way is if we come back here again and we go in our actions, click functions and delete invoiced order. Now we're presented with this dialog. Now here it's possible to define some filters on how we want to filter the purchase orders to decide what we're going to delete or not. We can decide by document number range. We can decide by vendor, maybe do only some that belong to a certain vendor, put other filters and so on. But you'll notice down here, it is possible to schedule this task. So pretty much do the same thing that we would have done manually in the job queue entry. The system takes care of this for us here. So this is also a much way and more convenient way of doing that. So we select here all the parameters. We can change the description if we like. We can decide how often this job needs to run. Classic scenarios to do it every day. And we can also decide to have an expiration date. So, for example, we could say, hey, we want it to run, but only until this specific day at this specific time. If we were to click OK here now, which we'll do in just a second, this is just going to create a job queue entry that has this report that will run this report every night at 12 a.m. and every night because of this cadence that we specified here. So if we go click OK, and we now go back into the job queue entries. You will notice that a new entry has been created here. We can now view that. And as soon as it loads, you will see that the system has automatically selected for us the correct report, has created the entry, specified the recurrence, and everything, all the details that needs to happen, and has set already the status to ready. So this will automatically run every night at midnight and delete all the purchase orders that have already been invoiced for us. Now, let's see what that function actually does. So if we were to do it manually, remember like these two purchase orders have already both been received and invoiced, so they are no longer needed. So what we can do here is just click on the action function, delete. We're not going to specify any filter because we want it to run on all purchase orders. So the moment we click OK, you'll notice that the last two lines with the last two purchase orders have been deleted. And this is exactly the effect that you would see if the job were to run every night. It would just scan through the list and find all the purchase orders that have already been invoiced and received and delete them. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know down below if there's anything else that you'd like us to cover. Always happy to hear your comments. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching this video from NAV SEAL. Check out more right here. NAV SEAL offer assistance and counsel on any existing solution. So if you're in need of assistance, don't hesitate to contact us on navseal.com or LinkedIn. Consider leaving a like and subscribe for more tips, news, and guides to anything Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.